Is there a way to fix our broken Senate? Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel.
Is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Oh, the Brad Parscale story continues to get weird. He testified before Congress in response to questions. By the way, welcome back to the third hour of our program. In response to questions from Representative Jackie Speer of California, if he was targeting people by race. And we now know this from this massive leak that's coming out of the UK that, in fact, the Republican Party, the Trump campaign specifically, was targeting people by race. And he lied. He lied before Congress. So maybe that's why he's threatening suicide. God only knows. Excuse me. But anyhow, there's a lot going on. And at the front and center is Amy Coney Barrett on her way to the Supreme Court, having pre-proclaimed that she's going to, that she thinks John Roberts certainly should have struck down Obamacare in its entirety back in the day, right, a couple of years ago when he had the chance. Dr. Sam Metz is with us on this topic and broadly healthcare in general. He's a member of Physicians for National Health Program, PNHP, and Mad as Hell Doctors. He's a retired anesthesiologist. SamuelMetz.com or PNHP.org. The website's PNHP is the Twitter handle as well. Dr. Metz, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. It's so nice to have you with us. So, where do we go with this? I mean, first of all, just very quickly, kind of for the record, it's I realize probably most of my listeners know this and could recite it to us, but let's just recap very, very quickly how stupid and wasteful our current healthcare system is and what benefit we would get from a Medicare for all type single-payer system like Canada has.
Stupid and inefficient is being gracious to our healthcare system. We have the most inefficient healthcare system ever created. We spend twice as much money as the average industrialized country on almost every measure of outcome. We are at or near the bottom. It's destroying families. It's destroying businesses. We're the only country that has medical bankruptcies, and we're the only country that has labor management disputes over health care benefits because we're the only country that expects our employers to provide health care. Any country provides better care to more people for less money than we do. Not just Canada, France, Germany, Japan, Australia, Malta, Spain, Andorra, they all do better than we do. We need a big change, and we need to emulate them.
Yeah, let's learn from what works. So, Dr. Metz, if Barrett is on the court and the court hears the Obamacare case and strikes down Obamacare, it occurs to me that may actually be a good thing because, Obamacare is this kludge that was put together by the Heritage Foundation and put into place in Massachusetts by Republican Governor Mitt Romney, back in the day. And it really just, yes, it extended service to, in healthcare to 20 million people. And had it not been gutted by John Roberts in the Supreme Court, it would have expanded Medicaid, which would have been a good thing. But still, it's a partial remedy that is still shoveling literally an unnecessary $1 trillion a year into that industry. So are you guys preparing for what might happen if Obamacare gets struck down? Is like, hey, this is the opportunity to promote Medicare for all, and also are you preparing a constitutional argument against Amy Barrett's argument that the Constitution doesn't say anything about health care. You didn't have health care during the founding generation, and so if we're going to be originalists and we have to run America according to the standards of 1787. I mean, she's already said she's okay with separate but equal, which is not quite as bad as 1787. But, what do we do?
She could set the country back 200 years to the good old days before electricity and antibiotics. For health care, the Affordable Care Act gave millions of Americans more access to health care by expanding Medicaid. But if you have got private insurance, you're worse off than you were before the Affordable Care Act. It makes America far more dependent on private health insurance than it ever was before. If the Affordable Care Act is struck down, it means millions of Americans will lose their Medicaid. It also means that everyone will appreciate how desperate our situation has become and how we need to replace private health insurance with a tax-funded, single-payer, universal care plan. Anyone can see any physician. Physicians are paid on the value of their service, not like they are now on the value of their insurance. It's a big change. Every other country has a universal care plan, and we don't. They all provide better care to more people for less money than we do. The Affordable Care Act was a giant step backwards. No matter how you cut it, it changed the rules, but it's still, healthcare in America is still a zero-sum game. The only way for one person to get more healthcare for less money is someone else to get less healthcare for more money. You use the key word efficiency. The United States spends more money on just administration than any other country, 3 times the normal. If we could cut our administrative costs as a single-payer system, we could pay for the unmet health care needs of the United States with less money than we're paying now. We may have to relabel it, but if I'm the head of a family, I want my cost to go down, my access to go up, and I want better care. You can label it as premiums, out-of-pocket payments, taxes. It's all my money, and that has to go down. Quality has to go up. Access has to go up. Every other country has done it. We need to follow.
What's your sense, as a member of PNHP, and PNHP is, very active in this field. What is your sense of how or where this is at with regard to Congress? What, your polling of the Democratic caucus in particular in the House and Senate. I mean, this is where, like Joe Lieberman famously, because he was in the insurance companies had given him more than $1.2 million. He said, okay, no more public, no public option. What's your sense of where people are at right now? We've got about a minute and a half here until we hit a hard break.
Americans are desperate for a big change. Doing more of the same is just not going to cut it anymore. It's uncertain if Congress has the fortitude to turn their back on the American healthcare industry and create something better. The American healthcare industry is the largest industry in the United States, the largest industry in the world. We spend 3 times on healthcare what the Saudi Arabians get in gross revenue. It takes a lot of determination to move away from that. It's possible that Congress may pass a states' rights healthcare super waiver that would allow individual states to try their own universal care plans and move state by state, much like Canada did. We have many models, and maybe the states should lead if the U.S. Congress won't.
Now, Vermont elected a governor. I mean, Peter Welch, as I recall, got elected governor based on this platform. The Vermont legislature pushed it through, but he was unable to implement it because there were only 600,000 people in the state. It's just too small, but California could. Did they need a waiver?
First, Vermont never implemented its plans because it never created the tax plan to replace what people paid in premiums.
Right.
We can do just fine with 600,000 people, and yes, federal law now makes it impossible for a universal care plan for a state, but maybe they can change that.
Okay, great. I would like to dig into it. It frustrates me when I hit a break, too. I'd like to dig into what exactly stops that, but we can do that offline. Dr. Sam Metz with PNHP.org. Thank you, Sam.